just be decided, because the championship leader, Piers Lehane, with a bit of an advantage over the others, is on pole position. Technically, he might be able to wrap it up in this pre-final, come what may in the final. But on pole position then is Piers Lehane. You just heard from him on RGMMC TV, the Australian with 2 wins already this season out of the 3. Luke Valelms having an excellent weekend so far as well. The young Dutch driver starts second on the grid. On road 2, it's Rinus van Kamphout, kart number 219. First season of racing for the youngster in this category in seniors, but he's in with a chance of the championship. Martin Mortensen has had a great day so far, or great weekend so far. Back to form for the very quick Danish driver who a couple of years ago was 4th in the championship. Then it's another championship contender. John Stewart is 3rd in the points when drop scores are considered. He starts 5th on the grid. Leden Hugenboom is alongside him on row 4. We've got Josh Collins and Victor Oberg, another driver that has gone well in recent years. He was 4th in last year's championship. Row 5, Glen van Paris looking strong this weekend in his home country. Sam Marsh is another key contender in the championship. He is their 10th on the grid. Row 6, Ed Brands, 3rd in the championship last year. And Ed is alongside Denis Mavlenov, the driver who got pole position on Friday after qualifying, and unfortunately missed his first race due to a technicality on the grid, which we've already covered, but had a couple of decent finishes thereafter. So Dennis wants to watch the Russian from 12th on the grid. Row 7, Vatio Franson and Vincent Joule. Row 8, Thomas Drouet and Avo Talvar, who's been on the podium here before. Harry Webb, the reigning champion, number 201, says he's got nothing to lose, he's just going to go from it, from the 9th row of the grid. And Bryce Choker is alongside the Canadian. Row 10, Mauricio van der Laan and Oliver Askew. Row 11, Michael Cool and Shane Daly. Row 12, Nicholas Szabo and Patrick Pastorak. Row 13, Rowan Grimwis and Gabriel Delgado Barrios. Row 14, Christopher Dreisbing and Jakob Kadkalak. Then we've got the 6 drivers that came through from the second chance heat, all with nothing to lose in this race. Dubsky, Renadan, Lasos, Leitonen, Besler and Aberdeen. And here is Matt Suckling to talk you through the pre-final for the seniors here in the final round of the championship.
Let's go racing once again then. 12 laps for seniors, pre-final time now. Who's going to make the best of the starts as the race gets underway down towards turn number 1? It's the outside that makes the best of the starts then. What can Piers Lehane to do to try and hold on his muscle down the field? He's down to 3rd, he's down to possibly 4th as the 2 others have come through, Rinus van Kamphout and Luke Valelms, and they've done a grand job. Everyone just about through. There's a couple towards the rear that have been barged off down the field there, but Piers Lehane struggled, which is unusual down, especially on the inside run through the first corner. So he's now down to 3rd place. The top 2 together here. Luke Valelms just ahead of Rinus van Kamphout in towards the hairpin of turn number 5, and now Piers Lehane has joined them once again. They are all nose to tail in this fight up front, and the 4th place man in there is going to be the car that has come through from way down, Glen van Paris. What a job he's done. The man with the green helmet then is there with the top 3, and moved down the inside, possibly not quite going to work there. So Luke Valelms is going to be the man who holds on to it. 2nd is Rinus van Kamphout in a chance with the championship, and Piers Lehane looks for a move down to the final corner, but in turn Rinus van Kamphout goes through, and look at that, Luke Valelms from 1st to 4th.
Yeah, because also going through there was our 4th place man. So Valelms coming under fire there. Van Kamphout got through. Piers Lehane now goes through and into the head of the pack. It's all chop and change here, isn't it? So into the start of the second lap, the Australian gets back through into the lead of the race. Glen van Paris getting in that fight as well, as you said, with an excellent start to proceedings. Down the back straight they go then. Piers Lehane is where he needs to be. By my maths, he's just got to get to 256 points on the drop scores. To do that, he needs a top 3 finish here. Nobody can outscore him then, even if he doesn't get anything from the final. He's still got a reasonably good top 10 finish, which he could include to get up to that total. So I reckon he's in a place here to maybe just wrap things up before the final. Although, of course, he's got to, if he goes in the final, then make sure he doesn't get excluded, because you've got to count that. But he's in a great position here. In 2nd place is Glen van Paris. Rinus van Kamphout very, very briefly was in the lead of the race at turn 10 at the end of the final lap, but then he ran out wide and was gazumped, so down to 3rd place he went. Luke Valelms is still right with him in 4th position. The 2 young Dutch drivers, 3rd and 4th, having great battle there. And then we got 5th, 6th, 7th all together as well. Victor Oberg, John Stewart and Ed Brands had a good start to the race as well. Vincent Joule is 9th, and Denis Mavlenov has made up some positions as well. He's up into the top 10. Down the back straight we go, and it's a familiar sight up front. Matt Zuckling, it's Piers Lehane.
Yeah, he's doing the business then, the man that leads the way. He's just gradually starting to build that gap now over Glenn Van Parijs, who sits there in second place. Watch out for the late race pace of John Stewart as well. Now up into 6th position, has just worked his way past Luke Williams, who had a cracking start, but now is starting to struggle because the next man he's under attack from, as you mentioned, the man third in the championship last year, Ed Brand, in kart 203, as they work their way these top 8 carts in towards the final corner, about to come through to complete lap number 3 and on to lap number 4. So a great job they've done so far. Many people have stayed out of trouble, but it's a great fight towards the head. Leonard Hugenboom is the man who now is starting to repress as well. He's come through to 4th, all over the back now of Rinus van Kampthorpe, who won't want this, of course. He needs to be ahead of Piers Lehane. He needs to score the points, and with the charging Leonard Hugenboom, that's not currently happening, is it? So Leonard's having a great run. Then a slight gap back as there's 2 together down at turn 2. They'll try and work out who that is. 216, I think, is one of them, as they get back on their way, and someone looking behind at the rear of the cart there who's in strife as well. So 2 have come to blows.
Yeah, 2 or 3 of them actually at turn number 2 from a little bit further down the order. So unusual to see smashes down at turn 2. We don't see too many there, but it does get going again at least at the head of the field though. It's looking quite tasty for 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions now. They're bunching up. Victor Oberg is perhaps the one to watch here in 5th place, number 204 with the red bodywork. He's trying to go after those guys. John Stewart glancing over his shoulder is next up. Fellow Brit Ed Brand just behind him, running at the moment in 7th place now. 8th is Luke Verlaum, so he'll drop it all the way down the order there. Dennis Mavlenov and Vincent Joule rounding out the top 10. Sam Marsh is well down the order as well. Van Kamptoots now gets to the head of that second group of carts at the start of the lap and goes into 2nd place. One driver coming into the pits, I think, was involved in that smash earlier on, so he's out of the race. And Van Kamptoot now will try and close this gap to his championship rival. So Van Kamptoot on the drop scores, when you take away their worst pre-final, the worst final so far, is the closest to Piers Lehane in the points, but he's got to try and beat him by 2 or 3 or 4 positions in this race, and that's looking a bit unlikely at the moment. But come what may, Rinus is almost under no pressure, as I said yesterday, because he's had a fantastic season, his first go at seniors. And the Duns Racing driver, I think, rather than going for Piers Lehane, he might have to be a little bit more concerned about the driver he's just overtaken, Glenn Van Parijs, because he's not shaking him off. The pair of them are pulling away from our new 4th place driver, Victor Oberg, although Luke Williams now tries to fight back. Now, wheel to wheel, all over the curbs goes Victor Oberg on the way to the left-hander at turn number 7. Luke Williams got to the head of the group. He was offline then, though, and went almost to the back of that group, lost 2 or 3 places. John Stewart was able to gain a position as well, and of course Ed Brand, who doesn't need asking twice, was able to get through also. So a big scrap going on for 4th place here with 6 or 7 drivers at it. Luke Williams slipping and sliding wide, I think, there on the run into turn number 5, and then the cart going very slowly, ailing out of the corner. He's plummeting down the field, I'm afraid, after a great day yesterday.
Yes, very congested in that front pack at the minute, in the middle of that front pack. So watch out for what may go on as well. The top 3, top 6 go through, and there's maybe a change for 7th here because we've got the likes of Luke Williams in the mix. We've got the 236 car as well within the action there, Dennis Mavlenov. So watch out to see what they can do. And they've all kind of trioed off now, haven't they? A change for 4th place down towards the first corner. The inside line for John Stewart. He gets the job done. Past he goes of Victor Oberg, and Ed Brand is in the muscling position as well to try and follow through. He sits in 6th place. This is a really strong run for Ed Brand. It's best of the season so far. So watch out to see what Ed can do as he turns his way through the 4th turn. Down the back straight he goes. And as Chris said, if he goes for a move, he's just going to go for it. He's not going to hang about his Ed. He's one of those who just takes every position he possibly can if it's offered to him on a plate, which it is currently being done there. There's nearly contact between the two. Victor Oberg still putting up a great defence here as the man who got through down the back straight, John Stewart, now starts to pull away. There goes Ed Brand to the inside of Victor Oberg, and again he gets the job done. So he now will be on his way, but can Victor Oberg start to fight back? He drops down to what will be 6th place. There's been more drama down off the back straight, down through the right-hander of turn number 6, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah, down into turn 6, we've just lost. Jakob Kadlak has just had a spin, just about rejoins, but right at the back of the field, I'm afraid. So he gets going again. Half a lap down now. Our race leader, Piers Lehane. 2/3 distance. It's going sweetly for the Australian here. Very, very tight, this battle for second, though, between Rinus van Kamptoodt and Glenn Van Parijs. Had a quick chat with Rinus during the break, and he was saying, I kind of hope it rains today because it's very, very close in the drives we've seen all weekend. There's nothing between anybody. In the wet, you know, if you good drive, you know the circuit, you can make a bit more of a difference here, and you can get away from people. That's what we saw from Rinus yesterday, actually. His race win came in those tricky weather conditions. It doesn't look like he's going to get his wish. I said it doesn't matter too much though, Rinus, because you're really quick in the dry as well, as he's proving to be there in second place. Van Parijs continues to shadowing him. We got John Stewart, who's lucky to get up and stay in the top 3 of the championship at the end of the weekend. Ed Brand just fighting for it here, the former double British karting champion. Got second and third running side by side, as having a little luck coming out of turn 1 was Glenn Van Parijs, but holding on to that second position is Rinus van Kalmthout. And then Victor Oberg is 6th, Frans van Jool is 7th, Dennis Mavlenov's 8th now, Luke Wilhelm's 9th, and Josh Collins rounding out the top 10 as it stands with 3 laps to go, including the one we're on.
Someone who had a poor lap number 8 was Alvo Talva, was running up in 14th place, now has dropped down to around about 29th position, so dramas for Alvo on that previous lap. He now starts his next one as the 2nd and 3rd place guys again work their way in towards the right hander of turn 8. Nose to tail as ever been for the majority of this race so far. Rinus van Kalmthout there in 2nd, 3rd place for Glenn Van Parijs, doesn't try a move down at the final corner, although he gets a fairly good run here. Can he get into the toe and try and challenge at turn 1? Rinus goes for a dive in terms of putting his head down. Glenn sits upright and that works for him. He dives down the inside at turn number 1 and he gets the place away. So Glenn Van Parijs has been lining that up for lap after lap. This time it does work. So Glenn now charges through to 2nd. Up the road is still Piers Lehane by the tune of 1.5 seconds. So I think that's going to be out of the question for now. But don't rule it out just as of yet. Rinus is going to try and fight back at the end of the back straight. Doesn't work, does it? Nope. So he stays there in 3rd place. And they've got to be wary now because the man in 4th is also starting to charge down as well. John Stewart, the one that we've kind of tipped for the weekend to be an outside shot for the championship. But he's getting closer and closer. But again, he needs to be ahead of all of those ahead of him to stand a chance of taking this year's crown. Yeah, but once you lose time at the start of the race, it's so hard to make it up because you look at the top 10, they're all doing the same lap time. They're all 56 3s and 4s. You can maybe make up a 1/10 of a second or 2/10 of a second, but trying to make up any more than a 1 second deficit in a race is really, really difficult at the front of the field because the gaps are so fine. Out wide again to try and get second place goes Glenn Van Parijs. He's been reeled in, as you say, by John Stewart, and it's close just behind them between Ed Brand and Victor Oberg. Who are the other runners inside the top 6. Onto the back straight goes the 2nd, 3rd place battle. And just to reiterate, Piers Lehane's going to pick up 34 points if it stays like this. Rinus van Kalmthout in 2nd place is going to pick up 33 points if he stays in 2nd place. And the most he could then get, even if he won the pre-final, will be 255 points. And Piers Lehane, even if he finished last in the final later on, will get 258. So this should be enough to wrap it up. He looks calm and cool. He has done all weekend long. He doesn't look, Matt, like a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's just gone about his business in his usual calm manner, and the Australian is doing the business now as he goes on to the last lap of the race. Yeah, he has a brief look over his shoulder as he heads through that time, just to check where everybody is and what he may need to do. But I think this is the most open championship because all the rest are very, very close indeed. So Piers Lehane looking good, has done the business as of yesterday with the quickest heats and the best position. And of course, he's led this one from the front as well. He continues to pull away from 2nd, 3rd and 4th place, which is still Rinus van Kalmthout, Glenn Van Parijs and John Stewart there in the 4th position. And I think John will be trying to get himself into the top 3 before this one is done. Only a couple of corners now to go for John to make a move. Can he do anything on Glenn down towards the last couple of corners? It is going to be a long stretch, but watch out for it. Meantime, down towards that final corner and looking to take the crown in seniors for 2015. It's all unofficial for now, but Piers Lehane has done the first part by winning the pre-final. He comes across the line and Piers Lehane takes the checker flag in style, as he's done so far this year on many, many occasions. Well done to the Aussie. He comes through as our winner this time round. 2nd then goes to Rinus van Kalmthout there. Great drive from him from where he started on the grid. And 3rd place is going to go to a charging Glenn Van Parijs. Great job from them. 4th place to John Stewart in kart 265, the man, of course, who also races with Strawberry Racing. So he comes through with a happy smile, I'm sure, on his face. But now the championship will be, unfortunately, done for him. He'll now be trying for the likes of 2nd or 3rd to try and get himself ahead of Sam Marsh or Rinus van Kalmthout as they head into the final. Mentioning Sam Marsh there, a very poor race for him as well. We'll catch up on where Sam did come across the line. But the rest of the order, as you can see on your screen, Ed Brand, a great drive for the CRG boy. He finishes 3.3 seconds adrift in 5th. Victor Oberg, the Swede, in 6th. Dennis Mavlinov, after his qualifying pace on Friday, drops down to 7th place. Luke Wilhelms, after a good start, also drops down to that position. The American Oliver Askew and Bantan Jewel round out your top 10. The rest of the order is there. Martin Mortensen, after a heat win on Saturday, comes home in 14th place. Karol Dawski from the back, what a drive, 15th place for him. Harry Webb, last year's champion, no longer is down in 18th place. Berko Besler, 21st. Ronnie Lazouz, the man who comes through again, the second chance heat, jumps up into 24th place. And still no sign there of Sam Marsh, I don't think. Let's see where he did come through towards the end. Not on our screen, so I'm not too sure what happened to Sam, but there's the rest of the order with Gabriel Delgado Barrios, a man who didn't start the race. Rowan Grimwith was out, Ava Talbot was out, and also Shane Daly 2 laps down for the Dan Holland Racing Team. But another great race in pre-final for seniors. We now look forward, of course, to the finals for seniors to come later on this afternoon.